They get too long and they tangle so well. I cut them. But to send me to the Korean beauty store and say, Latif, you gotta get a chemical and put on your scalp and burn your scalp and have patches of your scalp bleeding so you can pretend that you're, please, kill me now. And I mean that. It won't ever happen because I respect my Africanity. I'm a woman of African descent and I respect it. I love it. I ain't mad about it. I'm not upset. Okay? It is what it is. I'm all right. I'm good. Okay? So this is what the argument is. This is what her argument is. Women of African descent should respect, honor their natural hair. That's your thesis and your topic. So I would word it that way. I'm not trying to read words, but I want you to be clear in your argument. So once she knows what she's arguing, then she can ask the 6 reporters questions in order. So let's take them in order and let's practice. In order, they should be asked who, what, when, where, why, and how. And you're going to answer these briefly in the abstract. That's what goes in the abstract. We're never going to say I, we're never going to say me. We're going to take these questions one at a time. So, Ms. Robinson, who is your topic about right here? Women of African descent. Yeah, that's what you said. You can say this paper. So let's move it over here. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help her write the first sentence. And all of you can see the model and you can use it. Okay? So this was actually my abstract. I would begin by in the middle of the page. When you go to page 580, you're going to see that you just put abstract. It's in the center of the page. And then you're going to start writing. So she could say, this paper, what is it doing? It discusses or talks about or argues. And let's just use the word argue. I like that better. Argues the point, what point? That women, I'm going to abbreviate, of African descent should blah, 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 blah. You see the pattern? We answered the who and the what already in one sentence. Boom, just like that. The who and the what in one sentence. I never said I never said me, I never said mine. You save all that first person stuff when you really start arguing points, okay? But right here, an abstract, just so you know, is a summary of what the paper is really all about. That's all it is. And it's real short. Let's go, we did the who and the what. Let's try to enter the when. What do you think? That's where the critical thinking comes in. What do you think, Ms. Robinson, about the when? How can we approach that and kind of incorporate that into the abstract? What could we say?
I guess like in modern times, like now we should start to
Okay. And let's not use today, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
In modern times, in today's world, women of African descent should really start to consider loving their hair. Should we say, what do you think, Ms.?
I was going to say to jump back to when women did appreciate their hair. And say there was a time when women of African descent respected and loved their hair compared to how it is now.
And let me just say this because I want to help any young woman of color of African descent who's struggling with the idea of straightening and weaving and wearing wigs. You're young and beautiful as you are. You really are. And when you begin to accept that, when you begin to internalize it, and know that you're okay just the way, I'm going to put the religious thing in here, because I'm not religious, I'm going to do it for you. The way God made you. See, you get up in church and you hoop and holler, oh, I love the Lord, He made me just right, I love myself. But the practice of it says something different, does it not? Practice of it. Look, women of African descent have braiding hair since the world started. We the hair braiders. We can braid some hair. Okay, that's our thing, braiding hair. Okay? Now, we've been locking. Locking didn't just start with Bob Marley. Locking goes all the way back to the Great Pyramids of Giza, which is in Africa. Egypt is in Africa. The pyramids are in Africa. The last time I was in Egypt, it was in Africa. And these were African people, not the Arabs who occupied Egypt now. They did not build the pyramids. People from Kush Empire, that's a whole nother history lesson, built the pyramids. They were black. They called themselves black. And if you go into the pyramids, and I have been in them, and you go in the Great Pyramids and you see all of the pictures, they call them hieroglyphics in the language they wrote back then, And you see pictures of them with their hair in locks. All of the Cleopatras were African women. So the Cleopatra is a term for queen. That's all it means. There were many Cleopatras, many. And the most famous one, the last one that you hear about in history, was the one that met up with Julius Caesar. Remember that one? That's the one all the movies are made around. And she was as black as your book bag. She was jet black. And she had her hair in locks. And I locked my hair in honor of the last Cleopatra. In honor of the last, because she was a bad woman. When she saw Julius Caesar, the first thing she said is, "You stink." Europeans didn't bathe. They didn't start to bathe regularly until they came in contact with other cultures. Europe thought that bathing would give you a sickness. They didn't bathe. And they could smell Julius Caesar's army coming. They stink that bad. They were sailing up the Nile. This is history. You can read it. Okay? But the Cleopatra was a queen. But he didn't respect her. Julius Caesar wanted to hold court with her. You just can't come into Egypt and say, "Okay, Queen of Egypt, I'm Julius Caesar. I'm going to come in your castle." Are you out your mind? This is Cleopatra. Okay? So she told him. He called her black to her face. And she responded by saying, "I might be black, but I'm beautiful." And she was one of the most beautiful queens that Africa ever produced. And they said that she smelled so good, because if you ever get to Egypt, and I wear this Egyptian perfume, if you sniff me, I got it out of Egypt. But she smelled so good that you could smell her coming up the Nile 3 miles before her ships got there. That's how good she smelled. Okay? Really? You got to read history. She was a bad woman. They got her picture in the Great Pyramids of Giza, and she was fly. And she was also a warrior, because queens went into war at that time. They didn't just send, their military. She would go into war with you. Okay, because the way they lived, they believed. So she had her hair locked. This is what I'm saying. Locking and braiding natural hair goes all the way back to that time. So when you write your paper, you got to bring it from that time where women of African descent locked their hair and it was natural till now. Why you don't want your hair? What's wrong? Look, when your hair will grow, you say, "My hair is nappy, it's kinky." Stop degrading yourself. Don't use those words to talk about you. I think I'm the smartest thing on the planet. It's not ego, that's just people in love with ourselves, okay? I look in the mirror, I'm like, damn, okay. Really. I'm like, hey, I'm 61 years old, but damn, all right, okay? All right. I'm good with it, you know what I'm saying? You can't look in the mirror and you don't love you, right? You're like, yeah, these players, they lucky. My husband lucky. No, he's lucky. He just better know it. Okay? And I constantly remind him of it. You lucky. Okay? You lucked out, lad. Okay? So, you got to have that kind of, how do you say, that love of self that will make you love everything about you. I'm not shaming myself of my ethnicity or my Africanity. I got to go get some contact lenses and change my eyes from brown to blue. I'm not supposed to have blue eyes, okay? That wasn't meant for me. I got brown eyes. That's good. That's fine. I'm all right. I'm good with it. I'm supposed to have locks. Okay? That was what. So when she writes this, we start seeing women of African descent start to damage their hair. With one person started this mess. What's her name? C.J. Walker. Madam C.J. Walker, and that doggone straightening comb. Okay? Put that thing in the trash, forget about it, because you're going to be bald by the time you're going to have a lick of hair on your head. And then you're going to need a wig, okay? You're going to be up in them Koreans. Yeah, well, girl, the Koreans hit you hard. The Koreans don't have no respect for you. You come in there, you got to leave your bag, don't you know, right? That's how they do you, right? You a shopping customer, you the reason they driving Mercedes Benzes and Lexuses. You the reason. And you got to leave your bag at the front because they can't trust you to go get a jar of pink oil. Okay, that's what y'all want. Okay? You need to get rid of the pink oil juice too. And nothing but petroleum. That's what that mess is, okay? So if you want your hair, really, I'm helping her. Because I don't go into the Koreans because I don't need a comb. I don't comb locks. You say, well, Auntie, how you untangle them? Well, when I take the band off of them, I just you see me doing this sometimes because they're tangling up, just keep them tangling. But you don't comb. And people say, well, you don't comb your head? Well, here's the question I have. Who said you got to comb your hair in order for it to be beautiful? Who said that? Where you learn that? plantation where they told you this is where this mess started. When they took you out of Africa and you didn't have your hairdressers and your hair products that you used to have, right? Because now you're not in Africa anymore. You're on a plantation. You're a slave. They don't like your hair, so they tell you put, remember that bandana thing, you put on, cover it up. You're good enough to cook their food. You're good enough to nurse their children. You're good enough for them to lay down with you and rape you, but you ain't good enough to walk around with your natural hair, right? Check it out. Mm-hmm. You're good enough for them to do you like that, right? They rape you when they want to, the males and the females. I don't want to get into the ugliness of it or what we've done to black males. They were raped too. Okay? Absolutely. Okay? We don't want to talk about the nastiness of it. They were good enough for them to do that to you. Good enough for you to use your energy to cook their food, clean their house, pick their cotton, make them money, but you wasn't good enough. Walk around with your good hair, put a rag on your head. So now here you go. You go into the Koreans who don't respect you. When you walk in there, they snatch your shopping bag away from you. Look, speak English. You're going to take my money, talk English to me. Better yet, speak Ebonics. Okay? That's not English, right? Okay, right? Speak Ebonics, Korean woman. Okay? You'll be up there paying for your money. They be talking in Korean right in front of you. They're not on the phone. Don't have no respect for you. No respect for you. But you still give your money because you hate your hair so bad that you think that your hair won't go hair, bro. Take that mess out your head. Start locking. When I first started locking, years ago, I've been locking for like 40 years. And I don't care where I am. You start growing, okay? Everybody saying, oh God, these are beautiful. Get out my face, okay? Locking is not a hairstyle. Locking is a lifestyle. Locking is a process. Locking teaches you patience. Locking teaches you self-love. It really makes you love yourself. You'd be surprised what your hair gonna do. It's gonna go crazy on you when you stop using that straightening comb. You stop weaving. You stop putting that glue. It's gonna go crazy. It's gonna boing boing. It's not really going. And that's the beauty of it. Your hair is coming back alive. Your scalp is coming alive. You stop putting all those chemicals on your scalp, grease, Dax, pink oil, mineral oil, all that crap. Your scalp produces its own oil, does it not? Can't get a Caucasian hair produce oil. That's why y'all wash it so much. Okay? Scared of how scalp producing oil. It just does. It will. Sometimes your hair will get dry because of the seasons you need to have. But your scalp produces its own oil. It really does. Okay? So, your paper, this is the critical thinking. This is the critical thinking. This is for each and every one of you, critical thinking, and that's what you're not doing. That's why these abstracts are so, okay? And I'm like, nah, you gotta go back. So the who, the what, the when, the where. The where is, we could say, the lack of respect for natural hair for women of African descent started really in America. Okay, we want to pinpoint a place. And we can talk about the why and the how. But the most critical questions you have to ask and answer in an abstract are these four. The why and the how, we can save those for later. I'm not even concerned because you're going to talk about that later on in the paper. But let's make certain when we rewrite our abstract that we answer the who, the what, the when, the where. We can save the why and the how. You've got 4 sentences. That's all an abstract is. It's real short. It's real simple. You don't use I. You don't use me. We can say women of African descent should respect and honor their natural hair. That's the who and the what. When. You can say these women or women in the diaspora. Do you know what the diaspora is, Ms. Robinson? Yeah. Okay, let me help her with some language. And that's any of you that need help. You're going to find this word in your research, Ms. Robinson. And I want you to write it down, please. It's going to be called the diaspora. That's an Italian word that means when African people were taken out of Africa and spread all over the world, that became known as the diaspora. Okay? People of African descent, our original home of our ancestors was somewhere in the continent of Africa, somewhere. But because of enslavement, you've been separated from your original home. So many people of African descent that live in America, that live in the Caribbean, that live in Europe, that live in the Middle East, they don't know where their ancestors came from. But the beautiful part of it is now you can take a DNA test, right? And you can pinpoint what part of Africa or the world even that your ancestors came from. They can go back probably 10, 15 generations. My family came through the diaspora in Cuba on my father's side and Venezuela on my mother's side through the Spanish-speaking Caribbean. African people went everywhere in the world. Everywhere. My grandmother came out of Venezuela and immigrated into Port of Spain, Trinidad. So they go from Venezuela and Trinidad right there. So they leave Venezuela, my grandmother decided to go into Trinidad. And from Trinidad, they immigrate into America. Okay? So even if you think your family comes out of Spanish-speaking world, you say, oh, well, I'm not black. Look, let me tell you something. You're in the diaspora, too. Your original home ain't Spain. Okay? That ain't your home. Okay? The Spanish came out of Spain, and they called themselves conquistadores, meaning they were going to conquer the whole Spanish-speaking world, and they did. They went into Mexico, they went into Dominican Republic, they went in Haiti, they went everywhere. They took their language and they took their religion with them. We have to remember people like, remember Christoph Colombo, remember him? What he did? Remember some of the conquistadors out of the Spanish-speaking world that put you in the diaspora? We got to look at Ponce de Leon, remember him? Remember him? What he did? Yeah, you got to know history. Okay, and it's not only people of African descent that got in that diaspora. There was a whole lot of other people too. If you go down into Mexico today, you will see the original people of Mexico are very brown-skinned Indian, so-called Indian-looking people, right? Go into Mexico. And the deeper you go into Mexico, the blacker they get. Okay? Really? Go deep into Mexico. Go down to Mexico City and go deep into Mexico City. They turn them brown and black and red. Ain't like them no more. Those are the original people of that area. So you got to know your history. It's not only people of African descent that are in this diaspora. There's even Europeans. If they trace their bloodline back, if you trace your bloodline back long enough, it's going to turn black. Everybody does. This, because all humanity is one, is it not? All humanity is one. Color of skin is no indication of your worth or your race. It's no indication of it. It's just not. Color of skin and hair is superficial at best. It means nothing. But in the world we live in, this is how people are given jobs and housing, is it not? By the language you speak, by the culture you come out of, by the color of your skin, by the texture of your hair, this is how human beings are being treated in the 21st century. And I don't know about you, but I think it's sick. It's crazy, isn't it? To me, it's crazy. Sometimes I can't wrap my brain around, I can't understand. I'm like, how can you treat somebody like that simply because they're brown or red or yellow? You understand what I'm saying? I don't get that. So in your paper, Ms. Robinson, you got a lot to talk about because this is a tough argument to get people to express how they feel about themselves through their hair, especially women. Because in America and Europe, hair is a symbol of beauty, is it not? The blonder your hair and the straighter your hair, the more beautiful it's considered, is it not? Am I lying here? When you look at television and there's shampoo commercials, whose hair are you looking at? European hair. As if people of African descent, people of Hispanic descent don't wash their hair, right? You do. Yeah, absolutely. But you don't see you on television washing your locks with some shampoo. Plus, we don't use that kind of crap on my hair. I don't use anything on my hair I can't eat. Okay? Because my hair is alive. Okay? I don't go to Walmart in the ethnic section. You know, Walmart got a section just for you. Y'all can check it out. Y'all know y'all going in. Okay? Don't act like you don't. You going in there, you're going to get some Dax. Okay? They got a section just for you. They take your hair care. Isn't that the racist thing that they do in these stores? They don't incorporate your hair care products into the. Isn't that crazy? Okay? If you want hair and you're a person, you got to go into a special section. There's all kind of bottles and creams. Crap, pure crap. The only thing you should be putting on your hair if you want to moisturize it is coconut oil. You know, real coconut oil, go to the health food store. It comes in a jar. It comes in about 8 ounces to 16 ounces. It costs about $5. It'll last you probably 6 months. And you put that on your hair. You put it on your scalp. Boom. Or either, if you don't have that, you know what else is good? And this might sound strange, but you can use olive oil that you would cook with. It's natural. Sometimes if I need a heavier oil, my hair is getting dry because of the air, I'll use olive oil on the scalp. That's it. Then I'll wash it out. Okay? Shampoo, what should you use? You should use the most natural shampoo. You want that crap out of Walmart. You want to go to the health food store, you want to make your shampoo. What do I use for shampoo? I'll take like, where's that product? Where do I get it? I buy it online, but where did you get it? Wait. No, you should get the most natural product you can get to wash your hair with. You don't want your hair, you don't want the shampoo to suds up. Oh, here's the brand you should get, ladies. Let me give you a brand. Teach you how to take care of your hair and let your hair grow. Once you take care of it correctly, it'll grow. Okay, this is the brand. I'm just going to help you out. It's called Aubrey Organics. you get at the health food store. 16-ounce bottle costs about $7, but it lasts about a year. You don't need much of it. And it doesn't suds up. You don't want nothing that suds. If it's sudsing, it's stripping your hair of oil, it's stripping your hair of its color, it's stripping your hair. You don't want that stuff. Okay? And you wash your hair with that, you're good. Okay? Leave your hair alone, it'll grow. Okay? Hair is like fingernails. You leave it alone, they grow, right? They really do. Okay? So, in your paper, you got 4 questions. That's everybody's paper. The key 4 questions you ask in an abstract are those. We don't use first person. And when you hand this in, you're going to hand your abstract in typed, because I wrote that on your abstract on Thursday. So what we're going to do in Thursday's class, we're going to the library, and Thursday's class will be about you using time Thursday to finish the abstract or even work on it, because there's plenty of computers and they're